If you used folders in Outlook to organize your email, in Gmail, you're going to want to use labels. So any of the folders that you had in Outlook should appear over here in the left-hand column. If you don't see them, you can click on the More button and you can see any of the folders or subfolders that you created in Outlook. So in Gmail, if you'd like to place a message in a folder, so to speak, or apply a label, what you're going to do, there's a few different ways to do this. For example, if I open up this document, this is an email that I'm reading. At this point, I can go up to the labels icon and I could place this into the appropriate label. So in this case, I'll pick high school. And if I go back to my inbox, I can see that it has the label orange in color of high school. Now, if I want to get this out of my inbox, I can simply archive it by clicking here and clicking on the archive button. So it's out of my inbox, but yet it's categorized in the high school label or folder. If I click here, I can now see that message here. So that's one way to label something. Another one is to simply drag, the way I think a lot of people did it in Outlook. So if I take this, this particular one and I drag it on down to middle school and let go, notice it's not here anymore. So we actually moved it out of our inbox and moved it to our middle school folder or label. You can also drag the other way. So if I'm looking at this particular message and I want to apply the elementary school label, I'm just going to drag it right on top of that one. And again, it's in my inbox. I can see it here as labeled as elementary school. And if I wanted to remove it from my inbox, again, simply archive it. To label a message that you send, I'm going to click on the Compose button. And down here in the lower right-hand corner, I'm going to choose what label. So let's say I would like to send this message, but I would also like to mark it as a high school label. And you could do multiple labels if you'd like. So I'll do high school and middle school and choose apply. And then I would send my message to whoever I was going to send the message to. So if I go into my high school labels, I'll see the two messages that I labeled with high school. And because this message was also labeled as middle school, it shows up there. So if I go to the middle school label or folder, you will see that I have two messages in here, and this one is also labeled with the high school label. So you can have messages that have multiple labels. If I take that message, for example, and move it back to my inbox, and I'm going to do that by moving it to my inbox. And if I go in here, you're going to see that this message that I sent has two labels on it, both high school and middle school. So this is a little different than Outlook, where you can apply multiple labels to the same message. If you want to create a label, there's a few different ways to get there, but a pretty easy way is to click More, and you go down to the bottom here and click Create New Label. So let's say I wanted to create a label for Glenmont. And I'm going to nest that under elementary school. And I'll click Create. And now if I go over here to the left-hand column, I can now see that I have an elementary. This is the one I had created, but I have this underneath it. So now I have a place to place my messages related to Glenmont. If you want to edit any of your labels, if you hover over them, you'll see this downward facing arrow. So in the case of Glenmont, if I want to add a color, I'll choose my color here. And let's say I wanted to edit the name. I could call this Glenmont Elementary. Choose Save. The last thing I'm going to show you is if you have a lot of labels and you want more of them to show up here at the top, what we can do is we can go down here to Manage Labels, and these are all the labels that are in the system, and here's the ones that I have. And you want to make sure that the show word is bolded. so that it appears here up at the top. So for example, if I don't really want to use my starred label, notice it's listed here, but if I click hide, it's no longer listed here. If I don't really care to get to my sent mail very often, I can hide that one also. And if I wanted the spam to show up top instead of being hidden below, I'm going to click show right there. And so now I can see how just by turning on and off these labels will make them a little bit more visible or hidden based on your preferences.